All right, let's talk about something that's, absolutely essential for any business analyst, mastering the product backlog. It's really all about taking that giant, messy pile of requests and turning it into a super clear, actionable plan. And trust me, if you can get this right, your projects are going to run so much smoother. So, does any of this sound familiar? Maybe your team is saying things like, we have way too many requests, or everything is urgent, or, and this is the big one, we feel so busy, but we're not actually delivering any real value. Yeah, it's a super common and, let's be honest, a very frustrating problem to have. Well, here's a little secret for you. It's probably not a workload problem. Nope, it's a backlog management problem. The issue isn't really the amount of work. It's all about how you manage that work. If you have solid backlog management in place, you can cut right through all that noise and get your team laser focused on what really truly matters. Okay, so here's our game plan for today. First, we'll look at the common backlog problem, then the solution. After that, I'll walk you through 4 essential tools. We'll put prioritization into practice, and finally, we'll check out how your AI assistant can lend a hand. All right, section 1, the common backlog problem. So let's start with the basics. What even is a backlog, and why does it seem to cause so much stress? It's actually a pretty simple idea, but can it get out of control quickly? So if we look at the official guide for business analysts, the BABOK, it puts it really simply. A backlog happens when the amount of work you have to do is more than your capacity to do it. And you know what? That's completely normal. The problem isn't having a backlog. The real problem is when you don't manage it. And that brings us perfectly to our next section, the backlog management solution. This is how we take that messy, overwhelming list and transform it into a powerful tool that actually drives our project forward. The BABOK guide tells us the whole point is to record, track, and prioritize all the work that's left. So think about those 3 words, record, track, and prioritize. This is way more than just a to-do list, right? It's a whole system for making smart decisions about what the team should work on next. Now, this is a really important mindset shift. You have to think of your backlog as a living document, not some kind of locked-in plan that never changes. It's supposed to change. It should evolve every week as you and your team learn new things. It's like it's breathing right along with your project. Okay, so how do we actually do this? The BABOK gives us 4 essential tools. I want you to think of these as your personal backlog management toolkit. So what's in the toolkit? Number 1, items. 2, prioritization. 3, estimation. And 4, managing changes. All 4 are super important for a healthy backlog. But for this explainer, we're really going to zoom in on the first 2, items and prioritization, because they are truly the foundation of everything. All right, let's talk about items. You know, one of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking the backlog is just a list of new features, but that's not right at all. A good backlog has everything in it. We're talking user stories, of course, but also things like defects, bugs, and non-functional requirements. It can even include risk items, planned rework for tech debt, heck, even documents can be backlog items. And here is the golden rule. It's super simple. An item only gets added to the backlog if it has value to a stakeholder. That's it. If it doesn't have value, then it's just noise and it doesn't belong there. This leads us to a really powerful concept. The items at the top of your backlog should look very different from the items at the bottom. The stuff at the top, the things you're going to work on soon, they need to be small, detailed, and ready to go. But the stuff way down at the bottom, those can be big, vague ideas, maybe just an epic. They're just placeholders. You only add the detail as an item moves up the list. This idea, sometimes called progressive elaboration, saves you so much wasted time. All right, let's move on to the next section, prioritization in practice. This is where the magic happens. It's where you have to make the tough calls because you just can't do everything at once. So you need a system, a framework to help you decide what's most important. Let's look at a really popular one. This is the Moscow method, MSCW. It helps you sort everything into 4 simple categories. Let's use a mobile banking app as an example. Your must-haves are things that are totally non-negotiable, like a user must be able to view their account balance. The app is useless without it. Your should-haves are high value, but maybe there's a workaround, like resetting a password via email. Important for sure, but not a deal breaker for launch. Could-haves are those nice delighter features, like enabling a dark mode. And finally, won't-haves are things you all agree to exclude, at least for now, something like crypto trading. See how this simple framework brings so much clarity? Okay, for our last section, let's talk about your secret weapon, your AI assistant. Look, managing a backlog can be a ton of work, but modern AI tools can be a massive help. So, one of the hardest things a BA has to do is take a huge idea, an epic, and break it down into small, manageable user stories. Well, check this out. You can use a prompt like this one. I have a backlog epic called Implement a Chatbot for Customer Support. Please break this down into 5 distinct user stories. The AI will do the heavy lifting for you. Or how about this? Imagine you get a long, messy email from a stakeholder with 10 different requests all jumbled together. Instead of spending an hour trying to untangle all of that, you can just feed it to an AI with a prompt like this. Ask it to clean and standardize those items, maybe rewrite them into a proper format with a title, type, problem, value. You get the idea. This can save you a ridiculous amount of time. But, and this is so important, remember the mindset here. AI drafts, the business analyst validates. It's your assistant, not your replacement. It's there to give you a first draft, a starting point, but it is still your job as the BA to use your brain to review it, correct it, and ultimately approve the work. It's about working smarter, not turning off your critical thinking. All right, let's quickly recap the key takeaways. First, a backlog is just a way to manage demand versus capacity. It's normal. Second, use those 4 essential tools: items, prioritization, estimation, and changes. Third, prioritize ruthlessly with a framework like Moscow. Fourth, remember to only detail the items at the top, progressive elaboration. And finally, don't be afraid to use AI as your assistant to help you draft and analyze. So, I'll leave you with a question to think about. Take a look at your own backlog. Is it growing or is it shrinking? What is that trend telling you about your project? A growing backlog could be a great sign. It might mean your product is popular, but it could also be a warning sign that your team is overwhelmed. A shrinking backlog could mean you're super efficient, or it could mean you're running out of good ideas. Every backlog tells a story. So, what story is yours telling you?